Well, hello.
Well, hello. Welcome back. Welcome back. I am Tara.
I'm Natalie.
And we're making a movie. And this is a podcast about us making our very first feature film, the behind the scenes adventure. Yeah, fingers crossed.
Fingers
Crossed. So welcome back to our adventure, guys. We appreciate you so much. Before we get rolling, I just want to mention that any of the PayPals or live chats that we get during our stream and PayPals after the fact, all of those funds are going to go directly into making our feature film. Turns out, so give often, and yeah, we appreciate you in advance and in the past for all of those people who have done this so far for us. We really do use the funds to make stuff happen. It couldn't happen without you guys. So, all right, today we have got ourselves another interview episode, which I have to say, interview episodes are my favorites. I
Is it
learned
because there's
so
less
much.
work?
No, you would think that. You would think that, but honestly, it's because I wind up learning. Like we do a lot of research because we have to do the podcast, but then when we do the interview stuff, and I wind up learning stuff during the interview that I didn't even know I didn't need to go look up. It's like when you need to Google search something, but you can't find the right words for it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then once you find the words, you figure it all out, and you're very excited. But this is like given the Google words by doing an interview, so I appreciate them. Last week's episode, we dove into the deck and where we are currently sitting in production right now on the podcast and in real life is in development. We are in the development process. Natalie's face, for
I
those of you who
think
can't see this because it's a
yeah.
podcast, sneers
I think
so hard.
I don't like development. This is like my least favorite part of the job, I think.
So far, 2 stars. Would not repeat. Some people love the art of putting it all together and making it all happen. I get it. There's parts of this that I enjoy because it feeds into my little producer brain, which this is right on course with today's episode. Parts of it I hate. It's the waiting and not knowing and the scared will we ever get the money feelings that I don't enjoy that part.
Yeah.
So last week we talked about the deck, and that's, early on in your development process, decks are very helpful to help you get people on board. And now we are in the part of our personal process where we are building a team and putting pieces in place to get moving forward to Natalie's favorite part, which is production.
I don't even mind pre-production. It's just this is
Do you like
development stage that is like
Is it just this part?
because pre-production, I feel like the train's moving forward. Right now, we're building
Yeah.
a train, and I have no interest in building a train.
You're like, I don't want to build a stupid train. This is so boring. Yeah, so we are very lucky. We have already successfully conned 2 individuals into joining us into our process. And we're also lucky. A lot of the times, Natalie and I self-produce. Natalie is producing by force. I'm producing because I like it. But it's kind of early on in this part that you got to bring in a producer of some kind to get the mechanism going, whether it's you yourself or somebody else. Luckily, I love producing. Like, I think that when in looking at other jobs that I would take on in the industry, producing is something that I'm like, tell me more about this being in control of everything and everyone part of the game. The getting the money part stresses me out. That's the part that's and it's also how. But at this point, this is usually when a lot of projects bring on a producer, and producers do a large range of things, and that is really going to be the crux of what we're doing today, because we're going to introduce you to our producer. and we'll dive into what kind of producer as well, because I did some research on that. Our producer, Allison Moy Hayhurst. Natalie, how do we know Allison?
So I was digging through our history with Allison because we've known Allison and Mike for the Evening Squire Productions. We've known them. Well, so I last night I went through and I scrolled through their Instagram, Evening Squire's Instagram. I like went all the way back. I was like, what must be
Did you
first?
CII stock?
I did.
Classic.
I was trying to figure out like when we would have first crossed paths because that's not necessarily when you first became
Mm-mm.
friends. Um, and the
Yeah.
first place where the two of our paths crossed was at Gig Harbor. We were not there. Imaginary Friends was there, and they
Oh,
had a
right.
film. Oh, I've already forgot that one's name because we didn't see that one. We weren't there that year. But then we did see them. I want to say the next time was the first time we met them was at Twister Alley. And there's a
Okay.
picture of us on their Instagram, which I don't even, we're not tagged. I don't think they know it's us. It's a table read with the two of us in it. And they were there with, let me see, they were down there with 15 Down that time,
Oh,
which was
okay.
a very cute coming of age, heartfelt dramedy, I'll say, that revolved around a grandmother and her granddaughter and their love of puzzles together, crossword puzzles. It was very sweet. And I think we played with them in Twister Alley and then saw them again in Gig Harbor.
Hmm.
And of course, that's how, once you're on the same festival circuit, you become thick as
Yeah.
thieves. And we were going to do a special shout out to Josh Hope, the programmer of Gig Harbor, and also who was the director of Twister Alley Film Festival. It's may it rest in peace. But that's how we
Yeah.
all end up becoming close. But so Allison, we've run into Allison and Mike at many festivals, and what first really stood out to me about Allison and Mike and Evening Squire Productions is their range.
Hmm.
I'm going to
Yeah.
go through the
Agreed.
movies that we've seen from them, and I was as I was going back through them, I was like, it was just it's so dynamic.
Hmm.
15 Down, which I was saying, Upside Down, Plain Face, and I believe 15 Down, Upside Down, Plain Face. Were both written by Allison and produced by Allison. Upside Down Plain Face was a spoken word dance, like which just there's left field. And at the same time, they were running around with something called Cook with the Heart, which was a horror comedy, which absolutely loved. They did next. We saw them with Beat, which was a action comedy. That was really fun. That was playing the same time we were doing Social Anxiety. And
Hmm.
then this last year, and they still are traveling with their first feature film called "And Through the Portal We Go," which is a sci-fi dramedy comedy. And so while a lot of it is comedy, there is just elements of everything in there, and I just always really loved how they succeed at every genre that they attempt, and
Yeah.
that drew me to like, well, you want to make my film.
Yeah. Yeah. ugh, I, this is not really important, but I need to sort this in my brain. Why do I feel like we saw them at Idlewild, the film festival there? Is that a
I don't think so.
mismemory? Yeah, I don't think so. Because for some
Now,
reason I have
well, it was
camping
the
in my
same.
head.
Well, because we were doing Panic Button, so we were running around
Yeah,
with our
that
camping
must be what it
backpacks.
is. That must be what it is.
And so the first two times we got to know them was while we were running around with Panic Button, and so we
Yeah,
saw them at
that's
Twister
true.
Alley with Panic Button, and we saw them at Gig Harbor with Panic while we
Hmm.
were there with Panic Button.
That's probably what it
And
is.
I
That's probably what it
think
is.
that's about 2018, I think, is when we first got to. And so before
Okay.
we introduce Allison, the other little thing the nugget that I wanted to throw out there that I think is fantastic about the Evening Squire Productions is that um, looking back, they established around 2016. So a little bit before us, but their journey
Okay.
has been very like we've been moving on the same parallels. They're a little bit ahead of us in everything, but
Yeah.
like they just did their first feature.
Yeah.
But we're getting there, okay? No, but so we've been on the same timeline. It looks like while we were running around with our first short film, they were just running around with their second short film type of thing.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. We're
anyway,
right behind them. Well, and I think that this is in finding people to work with and to play with is how I'm going to put that in like a fun way. Like finding people who are close to where you're at and headed in the same direction you're going. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
really smart, you'll find someone just far enough ahead of you that you can learn from them as you go forward, so that we're all bringing each other forward. Like
Yeah.
I always look for I don't often want to. It's fun to talk to the big guys, the guys who are really, cooking and make it, but like they're not as helpful as the person who just got done doing what you're doing. I realized this when I first moved to LA, that people who've been here for 10 years don't understand the problems that I'm facing because the world has changed for them.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so being someone who's been here for 2 years in LA, I'm way more helpful to people who've just moved here than someone who's lived here for 10 years. And I think that that is a truism in all things. Like finding someone who's just a little further beyond where you are and where you want to go is kind of where you want to align yourself with your like
Mm-hmm.
building a team of people, so that you're all kind of in step and still gaining
Well,
information out of it.
and being that same thing for the person right behind you as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
So,
absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
mhm.
My favorite thing is to find people who want the pay raise of getting the title that they want for the job. So they've been doing first
Mhm.
AC and they want to be DP. Well, like let me give you the pay raise of giving you the DP job. Like let's do that. Like
Let's
that's
give them their
always fun.
first. Yeah.
It's always my fun. I always love doing that. Okay. All right. I think that is a great thorough introduction to how we know Allison. So we're going to go ahead and
Mhm.
bring Allison in the room. Allison, welcome. Welcome to our podcast.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here. And yes,
Hi.
love
Hi.
reminiscing about all of the
It's
fests
so
that we've been in
fun.
together over the years.
Wait,
It's
Um,
tell me
so
what that
fun.
film's name was.
the
It
first film
starts
we
with a
had
U.
was The Pits, actually.
No, not the Pits,
Um,
the other one, because that was your puppet one.
oh,
There was one that starts with a
yes,
U that you
Uncertainty
had.
Principle, which is a 3-minute musical film.
Oh, I didn't know it was
the
a musical.
Oh,
the
yes.
wide breadth of what you guys have done.
I can send you the link for that one if you want to include that later. Yes.
Hmm.
Okay, so you guys have been introduced to Allison through the lens of our Wonkadoo experience. Allison, tell us, who are you? Where did
Who
you
am
come
I?
from? How did you get into this fine industry we're in?
So I'm based in New York City, originally from Alabama. Roll Tide for any other Alabamans out there. But actually started my career more in the theater world. Went to school for that at the University of Alabama. And my husband, you mentioned my husband and I have our production company, Evening Squire, based in New York City. And we were there both working on theater, and he was working for a Broadway producer who at one point was just like, there's no money in theater. I'm going to teach you how to make films. Like very, very all of a sudden. And so my husband first went to learn on a couple of Lifetime films that he worked on assisting the director. And with that, we were like, oh, we could make our own if we could make our own work. And at the time, I was doing a lot of puppetry improv with an amazing group of people and some amazing puppeteers and also amazing builders. And our good friend David Bizzaro had this wonderful idea for this avocado short where it's sort of half of an avocado wandering the streets of New York looking for something to fill its pit. I think it was maybe 3 or 5 minutes long.
Oh, I love
Um,
it.
and I still love that. That was our first short, and had just a wonderful time on the film festival circuit, and really got hooked into film in that way. And then, yeah, I think what you were saying, like, well, we've sort of grown alongside each other in the shorts world. And then, yeah, as you mentioned, we just did finish our first feature film, and through the portal we go. We're heading to back to Alabama next, actually my hometown, which I'm really excited about for our 8th film festival with that feature film. And so that's been a whole new ball game, and excited that y'all reached out about turns out, because I mean your script is amazing, and we are super excited to actually be working together as opposed to just be supporting each other in the festival scene.
Yeah, we had a few festivals ago. I think you guys had, I think it was in Gig Harbor 2 years ago. You guys floated. Well, if you ever have anything that you want to work on together,
Hmm.
and then as we were getting closer to finishing the script for Turns Out, we were, going through teams that we would want to work with, or for everything needs a different director.
Yeah.
Like we would like to work with the same people over and over again, but it's not always the right fit. Just like everything needs a different actor, and not every actor should be in every kind of role. So it was one of those that we were hunting through our Rolodex, and we were like, we really like what you guys do. And this is before we knew you were making your first feature.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
so it was terrifying to watch. And through the portal we go in Gig Harbor, because we already knew we were already starting to hit you up about, can we have a talk about this one? And I was like,
Hmm.
we're gonna go watch this. If it's not good, then how do we rescind the
Then
offer?
back out, back
Like,
out.
How we run. Oh my God. Yeah,
but it was
that
so
was
good. I loved
we had
it.
liked everything you've done so far. And we're
Thank you
like,
so
well, I mean,
much.
like the chances of this being good and also not just being a good film, but also like still being a good fit for Turns Out. Like we
Mhm.
think we're right, but we were like, oh, oh my God, I think you and I both heaved a sigh of relief. Like, oh, thank goodness. Oh my gosh. Yes, it's gonna be
Yes.
okay. We don't have to be
Yes.
awkward and have to go, so never mind. We decided not to write a movie.
No, it was full steam ahead instead.
Phew.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was for sure, for sure. So Allison, this is one of my favorite questions that people ask producers. What is producer?
Ah, yes, yes,
Ah,
that
yes,
that
this
lovely question.
question.
Um, um, for me, like producing, I think there's especially an indie film. Like I think a lot of the titles that you'll see in like bigger studio films and things like don't necessarily apply because like everything in indie film, individuals are wearing 17 different hats and playing 17 different roles, which on a like big budget production, there probably would be 17 people doing. But that's just not the case in indie film. So I think that there's often, yeah, what does the producer do? And it's the answer is kind of everything. But but from my perspective, it really is about sort of being that overall guiding hand for the production, that like making sure that everyone has all the tools they need to be as successful as they can be when they are executing their roles. Still super broad, but really comes down to like there's a touch on everything from craft services to like yes, those are the right pants you should be wearing, to like this is the paperwork I need you to sign, to this is the press release and I'm approving it and we're sending that out. Like there's just touch points across the
Yeah.
entire process and the entire sort of life cycle of the film as a producer.
I will say it's one of the few positions in film that is involved from start to finish to the very end. I mean, director
Yeah.
gets quite a bit of their hands in there the whole time, but especially in indie film, like producer
Hmm.
is there from go, and then and you're like you're saying, even in post and afterwards, trying to get out the press release and stuff like that. Even if it's delegating that, it's still
Hmm.
ultimately you doing that delegating.
Hmm. We're particularly bringing a producer on at the point that we're at right now, like this early in the development phase. Like the producer you bring on is probably, especially particularly for indie, this is the producer that you're going to have all the way through the festival run because they're gonna want to be a part of that festival process as well. So like you're committing to each other in a very like meaningful and real way because you're about to do all this stuff together.
I think especially for Turns Out, it's like I want to make sure that when we get on set, when we do get to the shoot, that like both of you are able to fully go into actor brain and give the best performances of the hilarious script that you've written, and know that we've built the trust in that time for me to take on all those producerial things and making sure that like we have the right dietary needs for everybody on set and things of that nature, so that that's not something that you're like, oop, did we forget about that,
Oh, I
sort
love
of
you.
thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like just that idea, Taryn. I mean, because I mean, and as you know, like you self-produce and you do this over and over again. And Taryn, I realized like 3 short films ago, we can only wear 2 hats at a time.
Hmm.
It's like 3 is too many, and so,
Yeah.
I'm often doing costuming, and she's all and we're
Yeah.
producing, and we're blah blah, and it's just the thing that ends up slacking on every one of them is acting,
Yeah.
because
Mm.
that's the thing that you can do on the fly. Like you can't do the dietary restrictions on the fly. You can't iron on the fly. You
Yeah.
can't you can't
Yeah.
fix that painting in the background on the fly. It's like, oh, I'll sleep tomorrow, and then you
Uh-huh.
come
Hmm.
in with
Yeah.
bags under your eyes that are the most
Oh my
atrocious.
gosh.
So,
Yeah.
in that regard, a good producer is worth its weight in gold. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the one thing I've noticed that as someone who wants to produce and can't help but produce her own stuff, the big thing that winds up slacking in my work is my acting isn't as good and my
Ooh,
face is definitely tired.
sleeping doesn't happen.
Yeah. No. No, there's a couple of shots in some past movies where I'm like, I needed 8 more hours of sleep for that particular shoot day.
8 more.
8
I'm sure
more.
that are things that you can notice, but probably don't necessarily translate,
Well,
but
and
fully understand. Fully understand, yeah.
I will give us a pat on the back right there that we both have admitted that our acting has been the worst part of our film so far, and I think we both people think it's pretty good.
They're,
So just
they're like, it's pretty.
imagine what would happen this time when we're not producing.
Could you imagine how good we would be as actors without that? Yes, go watch our work
Yeah.
in Harris.
Yeah.
I also, as so far in this podcast, I also want to say, get yourself a producer who peppers in compliments throughout the conversation, because I do so love that.
Mhm. Well, you guys are just so easy to work with.
She
Yeah,
keeps
that kind of
saying
thing.
nice
Yeah.
things about me, and I'm
No,
like, I just love this.
and no, but it's truly because you do. I mean, I've seen almost all of your short films. Like, I know the type of work that you produce. I know how you represent a film at festivals. Like, um, you all are people that I've learned from. Even from going, yeah, from Panic Button, being like, why do those two women have these camping backpacks on in this bar? Um, to now with
What
our
are
feature
they
film,
doing?
I'm like handing out pins to everyone, being like, "You're in my cult now." The film is about
Nice.
Oh,
it's about the
you
final three
guys
members of
did.
a cult. So
Yeah, you guys did great with that on this one. The through the portal
Mm-hmm.
we go with the having your camera there the whole time,
Oh, I love it.
which will tie in. No, which will tie in later to my Abby Singer tonight.
Oh.
okay,
Mhm.
I didn't even think about it, but it will. But yeah, you guys did great with your marketing, and you have been hustling with your promotion, getting
Oh,
the
yeah.
interviews and stuff. Like you didn't have to hustle for this one, but I've seen you guys on quite a few podcasts and stuff.
thank
So
you.
good
Yeah,
job.
thanks.
Yeah. I say the other thing, like at present, where we're at within the our development process, the major thing that Allison is doing for us as a producer that is invaluable is she emails us every Monday morning with a list of things that need to be done, are getting done. Did we talk about this? Like, and sometimes it's, a copy paste reminder of like, hey, Tara, did you talk to your dad again? But it's, and the note taking. Oh, the note taking during our meetings. They're this mwah. I thought I was an excellent note taker. And then Allison sent her like CEO background version of notes,
I
and
know
like
it's so
it's just
professional.
chef's kiss. Oh my gosh. Like, with honestly, genuinely, without the Monday morning emails that we're getting every week, I don't think we'd be as far along with turns out as we are at this point. Like, we're consistently making progress every week, and I think it's because every week I get an email. I'm like, oh, that's right, I got to do this thing, and guilt works really well on me.
Um,
gentle
I
gentle guilt.
I do actually, yeah, I left this out of my bio. I do have a background working in startup to corporate tech environments. So I think that
Oh,
Okay.
that really
I was
informs
curious.
how I have worked
yeah.
as a producer, and especially
Mhm.
as sort of in that leadership position of like, how do I keep myself on track? Which, like, that's fully the notes part of it for me, is like that is I'm writing down as many things as I can. Thank you, like Mario teaches typing from a youth,
I did that
to be able
too.
to to
High
be able to type
fives.
What?
quickly.
What's
Um,
that?
you never played Mario Teaches Typing?
No.
Oh,
Side
excellent.
quest. What is that? Really quick.
It was like a teach you how to type program, but you would progress Mario along
Yeah,
like
Mario
Mario
as the
and
Mario
Luigi
Brothers moved
Mario.
Oh,
Yeah,
along
the Mario
as you as
yeah.
you. hmm
So
You
the
should
That's
faster
try
you
it. I,
awesome.
typed,
I
Did
think
like
not
that
know
would
about
help
that.
you.
faster he went through the course.
Mhm.
That's
It's not too
cool.
late, Tara. I bet you can find it.
I
I
bet you
need to
still
do
can find
that.
it.
My typing stinks.
It's great, very helpful.
Wow.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
those
was wondering
yeah.
because I that seemed very not corporate, but like someone went to a class at one point in time, at very the least, with your notes, and I was like, that didn't come from puppeteering. That's
I didn't come from puppeteering. Well, I don't
good
know.
God.
Puppets like notes.
Is that
Yeah,
what
you
you
still
learned
got to
in puppet
be,
class?
quick with your hands.
Quick with your hands
There
in the
you
puppet world.
go.
Well, in puppet improv too, you got to be really on it. You got to be quick fire.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
did hear that right. That was puppet improv,
It
right?
was,
You're
yeah.
yes anding with the sock on your hand.
We had hand and rod puppets. So like
That's
we
amazing.
would wear all black so you can't see us, obviously.
Yeah.
And then yeah, we had hand and rod puppets. So everything sort of took place above our heads and was always really, really fun.
Oh my,
When
I
we're
don't know if I
done
could.
with yeah, when we're done with
Go ahead.
turns out, we're gonna have to do something puppet related there because
Yeah,
Yes,
probably.
please.
that sounds
Yes,
Yeah.
I'm
amazing.
in. Or
Yeah.
I think y'all have talked about this Evil Teddy idea or script. So like maybe Teddy's a puppet and we
Yeah.
could
Yeah.
We created
Happening
the
live right here,
ulterior
everybody.
intent. Yeah,
I
here we
I didn't
go.
actually connect that dot until you just said that. That's a really good side quest conversation, Allison. Well done.
We'll tuck that away. We'll tuck that away.
We'll take that away. Let's get this one done first, and then we'll talk about Evil Teddy.
Deal, deal.
Okay, so bringing it back to producing, in the if you look at like if you type in the words, how many different kinds of producers are there in the film industry? You're gonna get the biggest list. It's like 36 different kinds of producers. I mean, there's post production, pre production. There's producers for every little piece. For indie filmmaking, I kind of have narrowed it down to I think there are really just four kinds of producers that you really will need, and a lot of times you're only going to get one. But overall, the kinds of producers I was looking at. So I want to talk to you, Allison, a little bit more about
Yes.
what these specific producers do to really wrap my head, because I'm still kind of getting my head around what each job really means and what that brings to the table for a production. So top of the list here, the one we all see at the beginning, the executive producer. And it's my understanding that this person is in charge of helping raise funds. They sometimes personally put money in. They hire key personnel. They manage the overall budget, and they provide guidance and input creatively with the writers and actors and such. Does that sound about like an executive producer?
Yeah. And I think there are
Yeah.
times where you will also see executive producers are just folks who've put in a bunch of money and maybe just like bought that title in the production.
Full support.
And we love
Which
them.
we love.
Like,
And we'd
Would
love
love to
them.
have
Full
some more
support
executive
for
producers
you.
of that nature.
And
Yes.
yes, I'd love to listen to your opinions on the color of her shirt. Please and thank you. Yeah, I think that like Natalie and I have been executive producers for a lot of things in our own projects, and not really fully grasped that we were an executive producer on the project. Truly, not just in like money, but in like the amount of creative guidance we're giving. Like we did earn that executive producer title. Like there's a couple of projects in my own mind that I've gone back. I'm like, oh, I guess I really was more of an executive producer on that. I just didn't take that title for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. From there, and this is where things get more interesting. Line producer. So not very often are you probably going to have a line producer. I don't think we've ever had a line producer. I think that's essentially the job that you and Natalie and I have done it for ourselves. At one point, we did have a line producer take a look at Imaginary Friends, our script, and just kind of give us a breakdown on the budget, which was really helpful because I think that's where a line producer really shines. And essentially, my understanding is that they manage the crew, the scheduling, they handle the day-to-day budget, and they make sure the project gets done on time and within the budget.
Yeah. I feel like
pretty-
that's that's
yeah.
a great definition.
And I kind of was like, and doing this is like, I kind of like the line producer job idea. I kind of like, if I had to pick one, I might be a line producer, because that sounds like fun to like play the game of get it done on time.
Yeah, and I feel like it
Yeah.
also flows very well with like first assistant director roles who are also like, but more on the like, it's a sort of higher level of their day to day, being like, we need to make our day and make these shots. And it's that one level above of being like, cool, and like, let's do that within the big picture of making our
Yeah.
timelines and making our budgets. Yeah.
Yeah, like they're more like the first AD of the whole thing, like a broader first AD, whereas a first AD
Yeah.
is maybe like a day to day, like you need to get the shot done in 5 minutes,
Yes.
which I could never do.
No, I could
be
never
a
do
first
it.
AD. It scares
Oh,
me.
see, that's more interesting to me.
Oh my God,
I'm
Natalie.
like cracking the whip, going, "What are you doing?
Yeah,
Get this
I
shot
don't want
right now."
the one time I've had to take on first AD because we lost a first AD, it was the worst day of my life. That's not entirely true, but like I was like doing the job knowing like I'm not doing justice to this job. Like I'm not good at being like, we need to get this shot done right now and saying it nicely. Like I'm like, do you think you guys could like speed up a little bit so we can make our day? From there we've got assistant/associate producer. And again, this is probably like also when I was doing my research, like, ooh, I think I want to go look for associate producer work. I think that's going to be where I start looking for jobs. They focus their attention on like the life on set. They work with the cast and crew to organize schedules and rehearsals. They make sure production runs smoothly overall. They tend to be senior film professionals in certain departments that have a lot of broad filmmaking knowledge and have worked on lots of projects and have gotten to this place where they can be the between different departments and stuff. And I think this is associate producers where it starts to get a little bit kind of muddy. Like you're just kind of like you're just making everyone happy. You're just making sure everyone's got their string cheese during the day.
And I've also
Your
seen sort
street.
of like associate and sometimes even like co-producer titles where it's people who have potentially given maybe gifts in kind or things, and like that's the title that they've been given, whether they like donated a location or were integral in the making of the film in that way as well.
Mm.
Yeah. And yeah, I have co-producers, like it's supporting the main producer, and like generally just helping all the departments. And you can be bumped from like a co-producer to like a co-executive producer, like they add that executive part if you've like taken on more responsibility. Uh, and these producers, like the line producer, the assistant associate producer, and the co-producer, those tend to be only on for like a short duration of the project. Whereas like the person like what you are for us, Allison, like the producer who's here from the beginning and it's probably gonna go all the way through the end of the festival run into distribution, that's the executive producer. Like a lot of producers are just here for like the short term of like getting this one project done. Because you can do like an associate producer tends to work on like multiple projects throughout the
Right.
year. Whereas like I feel like what I've done so far, even as just a producer, I've been with the one project for a while through the festival run. And I'm like, I don't have bandwidth for your project right now. I'm still getting this sucker
Mm-hmm.
through a film festival run.
Hmm.
Yeah. So yeah,
So
that's those.
it sounds like the lower, like the associate producer, and when you get down there, you can just jump into a project
Yeah.
and work on it. Versus an executive producer is like there from through all the stages and making decisions that I mean, you could probably still work on multiple things, but it limits your capacity to work on other things because you are consumed with this
Mhm.
one. It
Yeah.
is just
And I've seen a lot
my
of
interpretation.
associate producer roles too, like really focus in on specific departments or areas of like you're handling all the cast and crew contracts and like making sure
Mm-hmm.
they're
Oh.
executed, and if there's any red lines, like you're making sure those are all approved, yada yada yada. Or yeah, really specific roles too,
Yeah.
depending on what
Uh,
that producing team looks like.
This is slightly off topic. I mean, it's on the topic of producers, but and you may not have any insight on this, but I had heard that the Producers Guild was going to crack down on that in name only producers. That because there's a guild and because this is something that people work for, and you know that we don't say people were actors on something that didn't do anything on it, like, and so it was this thing that I think back during the last strike that there was some conversation. Have you heard anything about that? Do you have any
I
insight?
have not heard anything. I know that to even be part of the guild, you have to have two features that have landed on like a certain list of sort of
Mm.
distribution sites. And so, I mean,
Oh,
that is
okay.
definitely
Okay.
something
That's good to
you
know.
could buy your way into, if you were like, I'm donating
Mm-hmm.
or I'm investing $100,000 in like these three projects, and like two of them, land on
Yeah.
Netflix.
Yeah.
So I
So
wouldn't be surprised if that is the case, but
it may have just been getting into the guild versus in general, just
that you need to have
who
actually done the
cares.
work, not, yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, because
maybe.
And it
I
makes
mean, when you
sense.
watch any television show you watch, there's, once there's a big name star on it, like their names are on there. And often I think what is happening there is you're not actually taking, they're not actually giving money. They are taking
Hmm.
less in pay sometimes than, at least
Okay.
that's
Hmm.
the
Yeah.
argument is that I'm Hugh Jackman and I am going to be an executive producer on this. I get a percentage of the whatever as part of my pay, and I'm only taking X as my pay, but you also put me on as an executive producer.
Hmm.
And I get to
Well,
like have that, and they start to like get their credits for that so
yeah.
that I don't know.
I could see
It's
like
all,
as an
it's yucky.
actor, I can see like as an actor at a certain level, like I realized early on in my career as an actor that like I have zero control over anything. I don't get to say anything. I don't get a word in anything. Like I just come in, I do the acting job and I leave. And sometimes it's great, but sometimes it's nice to have a little bit of control. I could see like actors like a Hugh Jackman actor wanting to negotiate less pay for that executive credit so that they have more of a voice at the table when it comes to shaping the project that they're involved in,
Right.
so that they can make sure the project turns out to be the way that they were envisioning when they signed. Like, I'm signing on to do this project, but I want and need this to work out a certain way, and it going
Mm-hmm.
any other way doesn't serve my creative interests, like, so I could see that being like something that actors negotiate for to have that kind of control,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. And I'm sure some people just do it for the credit and the back end monies. Sure, whatever.
I think
That's
it's
fine.
mostly the back end monies, but
But back end monies. I would want it, me personally would want it so that I could have a say in my face is too orange, change my makeup. That actually happened one time. And I had
well,
no say.
yeah. There's been a
Yeah.
couple projects that we've done in the past where I put in just a little bit more money so that I could have the extra executive
Oh, yeah.
producer and could have that
Yeah.
final
Oh, yeah.
kibosh on things. So I had just a little bit more clout.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. I
That's
remember.
when
I
I
was
had
like,
money to do that kind of thing.
and as your coworker in that on those, I was like, that is correct. You're in charge. What do you want, dear friend? You put in
pulling
more money than
money.
I did. Yeah, pull that
Exactly.
rank. You pull that rank. I support this. Yeah. So yeah, that was the when I was sussing through producers, those felt like the ones that really were applicable in our and the game that we're playing in Allison. Like
Yeah.
those are the producers that you're going to be looking for. And you don't necessarily need a line producer necessarily. It is a nice luxury, but having the brain, like what the producer brings to your project is that they're able to take your fun script and go, here's the dollar sign for everything that you just did, and let's put that dollar sign on a budget. And now you know for real what are we doing here?
And
Yeah.
they're definitely needed because so many of the people in the film industry are just the creative types, and they don't have that bone in their body to
Yeah.
even think about a
Yeah.
budget. And so you do
Yeah.
need all types. And it's even better when it's someone like Allison who is all of those types, a puppeteer and
A puppeteer.
I'm just gonna keep going back to puppeteer.
Just keep going back to puppeteer.
Listen, I'm going to stay on
A
it
writer
till we
and-
make a puppet film together.
Until we, go
Yeah.
until we do our own Forgetting Sarah Marshall closing scene of puppets.
Yes. Yeah.
Love it.
So good.
Good.
We're gonna move into a Q&A section here. We've got some questions written down, and some of them are very generic.
Softball.
And
Softball.
there's no right answers.
Hard hitting reporting right now.
Question number 1. So and Terry, you produce as well, so you can answer with these. What do you look for when like coming onto a project? So as a producer, so I know both of you mainly have produced things that are part of your production company. I mean, like you've written or Mike has or a friend has, but like when throwing your weight behind something and deciding you're going to produce it, like what are you looking for?
Most of the time, I think a lot of the work that I gravitate toward are things that are really character driven, and things that sort of tell a specific or like personal story, but have this universality to the topic that they're talking about, or like things that can relate to not only sort of the times we are living in, but also to just like relationships and people. And I think that's one of the reasons that like reading turns out for the first time. I was like, one, I know you both are hysterical, but two, it was like it's this seemingly small story, but actually is about not only sort of like friendship and female friendship and the world crumbling around us and things of that nature, that I think hit on a lot of things that are topical, but also at the end of the day, it's like about these characters and like what they are going through and what they're navigating. I think that's something that really excites me about building a team, but also about the projects that I take on.
Are
Yeah.
you also at this stage, does like moving to the next step in your career, does that factor into it? Like, if someone comes to you with a short film that's something that kind of, I guess, is a step back now because you're on to features. Is that a no, or does it have to be a really good story in order to get you in there, or you just jumping on just
I think
story
it
that
depends on I think it depends on like who that person is that's bringing it to me. Is it like someone I trust or have, seen a lot of their work, and things of that nature? But also, yeah, it's like, what's the end goal of that? Because if the end goal is like, let's make it and let's put it on YouTube, like that's awesome. But like, maybe that's not necessarily, unless it's like, oh, and I'm going to put it on this page that has 50 million followers that will see this. So like, there's just different levels of exposure for that work that I think, yeah, at this point in
Yeah.
my career, I'm really excited about things that are about generating audiences and about using those platforms and the media type of film to be able to spread that more broadly.
Yeah.
awesome.
I think for me, like,
Go ahead.
oh, go ahead. I was gonna say, I think
No,
for
go
me,
ahead.
like the additional thing, like as a producer, I'm looking for projects that I wouldn't have a chance to be in as an actor, like sci-fi. I don't really, this space is too funny to be in sci-fi. So I want, like, I get to go play on sets for things that I wouldn't necessarily get to be a part of normally. So I get to go, do a heist movie. I'm not going to be in a heist movie, but I get to go be a part of a heist movie now because I'm producing the heist movie and I get to play in that world. For me, that's the fun, and like these are chances to be a part of other kinds of movies that I enjoy that I don't necessarily fit in as an actor. And
I
that's
can
not
hear
saying
that.
I'm,
Yeah,
yeah,
because I've recently, like, there's a couple things that I've considered, moving a little into directing, and the only reason I would do it if there's no role in it for me, because I want, first and foremost, I want to act.
yeah,
So, so if it's I have to pick between the two, it's going to
But
be
also now I
yeah.
feel like I kind of want to write a sci-fi heist movie that y'all are both in.
a
Um,
sci-fi
Yeah,
heist.
a
a
sci-fi
sci-fi
heist,
heist
a
comedy.
sci-fi
Yeah.
heist comedy. Yeah,
With
yeah,
puppets,
like
with
with
little
puppets.
tribbles, like, type of thing.
We got it. We
We're
got it
onto
all in there.
something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
Totally in
often,
there.
like if I'm gonna be in like a sci-fi, it has to then have the moniker of comedy behind it. Like not that I'm funny looking, but like you look at me and people assume I'm a stand-up comedian, and I don't know where they get this from. But it does limit my ability to go be in a sci-fi movie, even though it's one of
Your
my
eyes are
favorite
too big for
genres.
sci-fi.
That's what it is. My eyes are huge, and I look like the next thing I'm going to say is going to be funny.
All right, next
Yeah.
question.
Go.
What is it about producing that you like or specifically hate? Like, one thing that stands out that, like, I love doing this part of this, or I hate doing this part of this.
I think what you were just talking about previously, like sort of it's that mix of sort of the operational side with the creative side. Like I love a spreadsheet. It's probably some of my like corporate background, but like
I
I
love a
think Tara, you and I
spreadsheet.
had a conversation of like where do all our docs live? Like
Uh,
where can we put all our
yeah.
documents and
Oh, I'm
spreadsheets
so
so that they're
this
easily
my next
findable? Like that's
yeah, my next
exciting.
2 days is working on that, and I'm very excited about finally getting to organize our documents and take a look at it and decide what to do. Oh.
Yes. But also being able to have that hand of like, ooh, actually watching that shot, could we try that again in like a different way? And like maybe we won't use it, but like I would love us to have it for post or things of that nature, and being able
Mhm.
to sort of have a voice in all sides of that. I think on the downside, I think that there's times where I definitely lean on collaboration backgrounds where potentially if there are if there's friction on set, being the producer being the person who needs to swoop in and say like, hey, this is
Ew.
impacting our actor's performance, or like this is like how we navigate that. So I think that's not always my favorite part of producing, but I do
Mhm.
think it is something that I can do well, and being able
Having
Yeah.
to
to be a
help
mediator.
mediate in a lot of those
Yeah.
ways, but also
I
being
kind
that
of
point for everyone on set to be able to come to you and say like, hey, I'm having a problem with this.
I
And I think
kind of like
that feels
being a
like a win as
mediator.
a producer.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I kind of like being that person like where I'm like, "All right, everyone come here. Come here. All right. You're saying this and you're saying this, and we're gonna all work this out together. We're gonna be
family meeting.
together on yeah, family meeting. The only time I don't like when Natalie and I have conflict. I fold like a cheap suit. Like that's not my because Natalie's my big sister, and I'm like, like that's not my fun part. But I love being the person to like get everybody back on the same page together. Because when you saw, it's also like solving problems and getting all the pieces together, the moment you get everything fixed and clicked, the high of that is what I'm always chasing. It's like I figured out how to like build a casino out of nothing with for no
Mhm.
money, and the moment it all works out, I'm that high. I get a high in my brain, and that's what keeps me going back to the drug that is producing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because
I
it's one of those times where you have it's sort of like this microcosm of trying to instantly build trust with people, because maybe you have
Hmm.
PAs that are coming in for the day and like you have a strong vibe on set, but like
Yeah.
you need to slot them into that so that they are as committed to the success of this project as someone who's been there, as the producer who's been there from day one. Like
Yeah. 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 It's I enjoy wearing those pants but denying the crown. I don't know. Like I don't want to be a director. I do not want to be a director, but I do like being the person that everyone comes to for like I like that. It's like in my day job, I'm a mom. I enjoy being the person that everyone comes to for like the whatever, the fixing the thing, and then supporting other artists to make their art. I like getting you all the paintbrushes you're gonna need. Like, here's the best paintbrushes. Now go make some great art. Like it gives me so much joy to set up a world
Oh
for.
no. See,
So
that sentence right there is
yeah.
why I wouldn't want to produce, is because I can give you the paintbrushes, but I can't lead you to the paint. Like I can't put
Well,
the
I'm
talent in your hands, sir.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is like it's picking people that do have the talent. Like, I see it in you, I see the talent in you, I see your potential. Let me give you the paintbrush and the paint so that you could do the thing, because I know it's in you. Like, and when you're right and rewarded because they got to do their best work, that is so satisfying for me. Now, do I want to do that before acting? No, you're right, Natalie. I do want to like if there's a role in there and there's another woman who's just like me doing it, I'm gonna be like annoyed, like
Okay.
especially if she's not doing it as well as I could. I'd be like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's cool, 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 cool. But like find like a director, like getting a good director and getting him everything he needs or she needs to like make a really beautiful shot happens. Like, that gives me so much joy to be the person that put those paints in his hands to make the art happen. It's fun. Yeah.
Okay, next. Do you have any advice for filmmakers looking to produce, or on the other side of that, I said, or someone who might want to get into producing? Like, are there any like killer resources or first
Yeah,
steps
yeah.
that you would like
Yeah,
pass
yeah, like
along?
not for me, but like for other, like if a person wanted to get more jobs, what would they do, Allison?
I mean, I think I don't have any necessarily any resources that I would point to, but I'd say, like, as with a lot of filmmaking advice, it's like reach out to the people, go to the film festivals, see the films that you have enjoyed, like take a picture of the credits if you need to, look it up online later, like see who produced that, reach out to them. I think people are willing to give you a coffee or a hangout time just to talk through sort of their path, their trajectory, what you have been doing, what you might be interested in. And I think also at the end of the day, it's like try it. I know I'm someone who definitely learns by doing. I'm not like gonna watch 15 YouTube videos and be able to like do the thing. Like, I need to get my hands in there and learn by doing.
Yeah.
And so I think it's also get a group of your friends together. You don't have to have this perfect polished thing. The short you mentioned, Cook with the Heart, was the cannibal mockumentary ghost film, which I'll also send you a link for that. That's on Vimeo.
You
And
like
they're
to merge a
working
lot
on
of things
feature, just so
together.
everyone knows, they
Yeah,
are
just so
working on
you're
a
all
feature
aware.
for
We
that.
have, yeah, our amazing writer Dan Timmis has written a really hilarious feature film script of that. But like, that was my husband Mike, who's our director. It was his birthday weekend, and he was like, we were still just coming out of the pandemic, and we were potted with two amazing improvisers, Dan and Natalie. So the four of us just got together on a Friday, pulled some things that Mike wanted to work from a hat, brainstormed what the story was. Dan wrote it that night, and we shot it all the next day. And Mike was editing it on his birthday on the Sunday, and I had to remind him that like this was a self-imposed challenge, and so like if he wanted to like
This was
stop for
his
some cake,
birthday
he could.
present. Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
he was like, yeah, I want to make this. So like, there's not. I think when you often think about making things, I think we often will put more roadblocks in our way than just like getting together
Yeah.
with a group of friends. And like, we all have a phone that has a camera for the most part in our pocket. So like, make the thing, learn the things, reach out to people, grow your network, and go see things. I think that's
Would
also.
you think would you think that, and maybe this isn't, it works this way on a lot of the other elements of film, would this be one where you could just go and offer your services for free on a small set and say, hey, I will can I shadow your producer and help? Like, would that be something that would be helpful or in the way?
I think it depends on the person, but I know that like I think people are always welcome to take more hands, and especially in the indie film world,
Right.
someone being like, "Hey, can I just like sit at your side and learn from you?" Most people are not gonna, unless you're like gonna mess everything up, or you're not
Don't be
representing
in the
yourself
way.
well. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but yeah, I think I'm sure that's very welcome on most sets.
Cool beans. That's the end of my
Cool.
questions. That's what I got.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. Allison, thank you so much for coming and
Thanks
doing
for
this with
having
us.
me.
Yeah. And thank you
And producing our film.
for producing our film. Thank you for like, I think it may have been you that like initially threw out the, hey, if you guys ever have a project, cha way back in the day, like, thank you for being the brave person in the room to say the thing that also our egos really liked hearing that you wanted to work with us because we liked your work. So it made us feel
Mutual
so good.
mutual talent crushes.
Where can the people find you, the short films, your Instagram handles, all that jazz? Because I already see people like, I need this film in my life. So
Yeah,
where
and
can
what's
people find all
next
this?
too?
Yeah, and
So
what's
links
Besides
next?
for
turns out.
links for all of our previous short films are on our website, eveningsquire.com. You can follow us at Evening Squire on all the social platforms. We are primarily on Instagram, but also Facebook and whatnot. And our first feature film, And Through the Portal We Go, you can find that at And Through the Portal We Go. And you can follow along about film festivals there. Our next screening will be in Huntsville, Alabama, as part of the Southern Fried Film Festival on June 6th at 6 p.m. at the Low Mill Arts Center Theater. So would love to see anyone there if you're nearby Huntsville. But otherwise, yeah, follow us on those platforms. You'll find my personal page through there too if you'd like to follow along with me.
Amazing.
Thanks for
Thank you
having me.
so much. Thank you so much, guys. All right, Allison, I'm going to send you back to the backstage area again.
Thanks
That's a
for
wrap on
Everybody, that is a wrap
Allison.
on Allison. A wrap on Allison.
Bye.
I hope people understand that that's a thing that happens on set.
Yeah, in case you don't
When
know,
you-
whenever you're done on set, especially actors, and whenever you're done on set, it's your last day, your last shot. They say that's a wrap on so and so, and everyone applauds and cheers, and it's very fun. I
It's
think
very
it like
fun.
it makes the end of something a little less anticlimactic because so often when you're done on set, it's so anticlimactic. You're like,
You're
and we're
walking
done.
away and they're still filming stuff and they've got
Yeah,
4 days left and your character's done. Bye. And you're
done.
like, okay, bye
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, there's nothing more anticlimactic when you finally load up the truck at the end of the night and it's like you and one other guy and you're like, all right, we're done filming now. Yeah, it lacks the applause that you normally get from a theater production. Okay, Toki. Oh my gosh, so exciting. Next week we're gonna have another interview episode with a filmmaker named Jenny Waldo, who was recommended to us by Tom Vaughn, actually. So tune in for that. It's gonna be
I got a little bit of information on that, just
oh,
so I'm
go.
gonna
Yeah,
jump in
thank
there.
you.
Jenny Waldo just did her first feature film, which was based off of a short film that she had also produced. She produced, directs, and writes as well. It was called Acid Test, and it was based, like I said, off of a short film she had previously done. She's working on her second feature film right now, and so she's
Mhm.
in the development stage of that, and we're gonna pick her brain
Yeah.
on that.
Yeah, she is where we want to go. And so we are talking to anyone who is just a little bit ahead of us so we can learn what we can learn. All right. This is my favorite portion of the show. This is the Abby Singer shot. And I love it because I get to learn something even newer. Natalie?
Okay, this one I'm actually excited about this, and
Okay,
I got
okay.
a little excited about this. I got like 3 note cards, so
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of note cards
bear
for this.
bear with me. In case you don't know, the Abby Singer shot is the vocabulary, the filmmaking vocabulary of the day, and this one, and I had never heard of this. That doesn't mean that the rest of the world doesn't already know this one, but I had never heard of this. Do you know what the MacGuffin is?
No, but for some reason in the back resources of my brain, that word makes sense.
Okay,
Go
the
for it.
MacGuffin, it's a movie term originally, well, it was coined by Alfred Hitchcock for a plot element or device that drives the action or logic of the plot. It is extremely important to the characters, but often ignored once it serves its purpose. So some big examples here. And what were
Okay.
we just talking about with, oh, the camera. The camera in Through the Portal We Go
Oh, uh-huh.
would probably be a MacGuffin. Like, so there's a Polaroid camera in there so the like the briefcase in Pulp Fiction, that
Okay.
you never need to know what's in it. It
Yeah.
is driving the plot for the characters, but it could, one of the things that they say about it is it's something that could be exchanged for something else. Could easily been a watch. It could have easily
Okay.
been, what's in it doesn't matter. So Rosebud in Citizen Kane, what it was didn't actually matter. It
Yeah.
mattered to that character so much.
Oh.
Technically, the ring in Lord of the Rings could have been anything else. It could have been a magic scarf. Like, honestly,
A scarf. I
it
want
could
a
have
horror
been
movie about
they
a
knitted
scarf.
7 scarves knitted to rule them all.
I want
Like,
that movie now.
The Rug in The Big Lebowski
Oh,
is such a
yeah.
big one. That's like, I almost think that The Big Lebowski was written with the MacGuffin in mind.
Mm-hmm.
The Private Ryan in Private Ryan, like that.
Yeah.
Because the other big part of it, it's something that the character cares about, but is inconsequential actually to the audience. So all of these characters care about getting to this thing, but it actually has nothing to do with the story, the rest of the story, everything else that's happening. So I'm curious, is the Holy Grail in
Yeah.
Monty Python's Holy Grail, considering it actually
Yeah.
never enters into it, you know?
Yeah. The
Um,
Ark of the Covenant is
no,
one of
actually,
them.
the Ark of the Covenant is
Oh
not. So
no, it's not?
that's like the Ark of the Covenant, no, and neither is the Infinity Stones, because those
Tell
all
me.
have very specific purposes. So the Ark of the Covenant does have things
Oh.
that it does
Okay.
that if it was replaced by something else might not. Now, that's a big argument within the film community of whether
Oh,
or not the Ark of the Covenant
really?
is or not.
Oh, I
The
love that.
Twinkies in Zombieland was another one that I was like, yeah, his motivation is Twinkies, but actually has nothing to do with the
It could
plot.
be, yeah, it could be anything. Okay.
So the MacGuffin was revealed in the first act and thereafter declines in importance. So it starts off like the rug. The rug is such a
Okay.
good example. The rug is
Yeah.
so important, but it actually has nothing to do with like it's the catalyst of the plot, but it doesn't really matter in the long run. So this term, this is where it gets really interesting. I started, it was like, where did this come from? Why does this? So Alfred Hitchcock coined it. It was like, he didn't
Yeah.
start it. He's the one who started to apply it to filmmaking and to storytelling. And it's a term attributed to a Scottish anecdote about a trap for lions in the Highlands where there are no lions. So, gibberish.
Oh, that's why I know the
So,
word, but I never okay, it's in there somewhere as a word, but like, yeah, okay.
so like this is the tail end of this. As I started to get into the etymology, I was like, now I need to know, what do you mean it might have to do with this thing that happened in Scotland, whatever. So this is the anecdote, or as Alcock told the story. The anecdote is that there are 2 Scottishmen on a train going through the Highlands, and one Scot turns to the other one and said, "What is that? What's covered under that big tarp up there?" And the other one says, "Oh, that's a MacGuffin." And he says, "What's a MacGuffin?" He says, "It's an apparatus for catching lions." And he says, "But there are no lions in the Scottish Highlands." He says, "Well, then that's no MacGuffin." And so it's basically just gibberish. And that's the story that Alfred Hitchcock told to justify what a MacGuffin was. Anyway,
I love that.
I love it. I love it. I
That's
was so
so
excited about that
ridiculous
one.
and fun. Oh my God. I love the etymology of things anyways, but that's a really fun one. That's
Right?
fantastic. Ah, yeah. It's not, do you guys see why I
MacGuffin.
love the Abby Singer so much? It's one of my favorite moments of the podcast. Favorites. All right, before we close out this party, I just want to send a big thank you to Ben Rathig for donating, for doing a little super chat for us. I appreciate you so much. Your funds will go to help make Turns Out happen. Any PayPals, any super chats we receive during the live stream, those are all going to go straight to making Turns Out happen. So we're putting them in a little bank account and we're going to make it happen. So thank you, Ben. You are awesome and amazing. Cannot do it without you. For those of you who are literally true. For those of you who are listening to this podcast, but you didn't subscribe to this podcast, why didn't you subscribe to this podcast? Please subscribe to this podcast. If you are watching
You can't
this
see my
on
face,
YouTube,
but it's doing this.
oh yeah, let me describe it. Natalie pulling back real hard, just giving herself a massive double chin. There's a wrinkly chin going on. If you are watching this live on YouTube, but you want to go to the backlog of podcasts, we have 11 other episodes up on podcasts, wherever you find podcasts. But if you're listening to a podcast and you want to be live with us and put your 2 cents into the conversation, we do read the comments as we go. So join us on YouTube live every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific time. I struggled with time for a moment there. Time is hard.
Time math.
Time is hard. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us this week. We appreciate you for being here for this. Thank you for joining us on this journey that is making our first feature film. The potential of failure is high, but we're not going to fail. We will succeed. And we'll succeed in seeing you guys next week. Bye, guys. Ha! We did it. Another.
I was thinking about it, Tara. In the future, when we do end the podcast, we'll have to change that one just to the end, and it won't. We'll have to take out the to be continued on the end of that.
Oh, you're
That'll
right.
be such a sad day.
That will be a really weird and sad day in the future of changing the last place card, the last outro bumper to say the end. And when would the end be? Like after we get through distribution? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I kind of want to go all the way through, but that could.
I don't know.
I don't know. All right, guys. Welcome to the Credit Cookie. If you were hanging out afterwards with us, it's because you're in the know. You know that we hang out here and chit chat with you guys for a few minutes after the show, directly interacting with you. So any questions? Any comments? Any gifts of cash? Put it up. I used to have a
lay back.
Adjusting all the things. Someone said something I wanted to earlier. Oh, I left. It's
said
gone.
That there is the reason that there are no lions in Scotland is because of all the lion traps. So
that's true.
That's right,
actually,
of all those
it's a well-known fact. It's a well-known fact. Oh, also, wait, before we get into the Credit Cookie, what mug is that? I saw you lift it up in the middle of the thing.
Isn't it badass?
It's massive.
What?
Whoa, that's
it's got
cool.
It is giant.
It's huge.
Got to be about 20 ounces. It's got some chippy chips on it, so I won't be able to sell it for the $400 that it's worth. I'll have to sell it for a discounted 25.
That reminds me, I have it right here. I don't know if many of you remember the ET mug I once found. It had an untimely demise. I know. I never used it for drinking because I love it so much.
Sick.
It's so... No, don't do that. It's this mug is like so meaningful to me, and it fell off a shelf and shattered everything. It was holding my my bracelets for May I Put You on Hold. I'm very sad about it. It's tragic. Speaking of mugs that are worth something, that are worth more than I paid for it. But that's a cool mug. Are you going to turn it into a candle? It's massive.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah. No, that's like the two things that sell at the booth that I can sell for high dollars are Star Wars and Disney, which are the same thing now. But,
oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, and they've all been massive. Like I did that big Yoda head, and I did the one that was like shaped like Chewie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was in it. I don't know. So this
I should keep an eye out for you. I found a chip mug one time at the Goodwill. I should keep an eye out when I'm in, because in LA we get a lot of Disney stuff at the Goodwills. Yeah, keep an eye out for you.
Those ones I can sell for a prettier penny. But it's too big.
Yeah, it's
even too big for the candle, but whatever. I might make it a planter instead.
Okay.
I've got a collection. I've got a collection of the planters still.
I have a Death Star mug that is too big. And that I broke the handle off of, and it became a planter. Now, I think there's also something else. There's another. Yeah, it's over there. It's holding up plants, and it's next to my Star Wars Legos. Because this is the adult that I is.
I was watching something, Tara.
Yes.
And I don't remember who this person was. I think that they were an expert on ships. And we were watching them because of the ship accident in in the Brooklyn Bridge or whatever. Yeah. Anyway, this gentleman had a globe behind him, a regular giant globe behind him that was made out of Legos.
Yes.
And I was like,
I think
is
I've
that
seen
something
this.
You can buy, or is that something that was specifically made for you? Like
it might be,
because a lot of times those YouTubers often people make
could
things.
Be a mock. Yeah. Yeah, because sometimes mock builds are really big.
Right. It looked more like that the inside was still a sphere and that they had put Legos on the outside of it. Not that the whole thing's dense with Legos.
Yeah. Because sometimes like mock builds are, oh God, here we go. Mock builds are really big. Like people are always building mock builds, and like you can build a mock of something and then it gets put up for votes. and then
Yeah.
people vote for it. And then if you get past a certain level of votes on this one website with your mock, then Lego will actually consider it for a set, which I just think is
Oh.
so much fun. Yeah, one just got through, and it's a gumball machine for minifigures, and it's made out of Legos. And I think it was a mock that someone had done that went through the process and like just now got
Mm.
released. Like a lot of the well, the Hobbit one wasn't. That was built by Lego. That was commissioned by them. But yeah, it's just I love looking at people's mocks and possibilities and like there's a Jumanji mock. I want them to make, it's the board, it opens up and inside the board is the house.
Ooh.
It's brilliantly done. Like that. I was like I would pay top dollar for that. Lego, get on that.
Yeah.
Gee, I don't need a lion trap. Cats just come to me. It's true. It's true. Gray Kitty's my little kid that's come to me. Oh, what else? What else has been going on? Was it last week we missed a week? Oh yeah, last week we missed a week. Oh, the pirate party. It went really well, guys. Like every year my family, for those of you who don't know, every year my family who has a boat rental company, we rent out a 65-foot blue water yacht and we have a pirate ship. And so every year to kick off the season, we throw a pirate dock party. Is on Armed Forces Day to raise money for the Folds of Honor, but also to kick off the summer. And it was like the biggest turnout we'd ever had for it. But unfortunately, because of where we moved the stage for the band, it felt like there were less people. But every time I would go up to the bar, there were so many people, and the sales for the bar were
Mm-hmm.
incredible this year. So like I thought we were failing. I was sitting down there with the band, and
Right.
I was like, we're failing. Like this is terrible. Then I went upstairs. I was like, oh, we're rocking it. No, we're doing good.
Well, that's like what we were saying with JDiff this year, is it felt
Mm-hmm.
those first couple of days felt sparser. And I was like,
Yeah.
no, they have more screens running at the same time. So there's probably
Yeah.
more people total, but
Mm-hmm.
they just are spread out differently. And so that,
Yeah.
but that you have to do that. There's that year that you have to
Yeah.
expand that so that the next
Yeah.
year you can fit more people. And
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, that's the things we had to move the stage. It just needed to
Hmm.
happen. So now, but we
Yeah.
didn't have like an auxiliary bar down by the band to keep the thing going. So it was
Yeah.
just like, yeah. Well, and that, and also, so they brought the water lines really far. So the pirate ship is really far. So they brought the cannons off the pirate ship up to the party, which is great, fine. And then they decided this year we're going to do fireworks. Amazing, awesome. I've got great firework pictures I need to post. But the boys were so, and by boys I mean my father, were so excited about having a cannon and fireworks that they kept doing them when they weren't supposed to. I'm like, guys, knock it off. Like during
The
the band
band is
playing,
playing. Yeah.
the band is playing, do not fire the cannon. I was gonna kill my father. And all those boys who were like, well, Rodney said, it's like, do not listen to my father. It's like, well, I
He's
have
not
to.
in
He's like,
charge.
you do not. He is not in charge right now. He is in charge later. Like, I hear you and I hear your fear, but he's not in charge right now. Poor
Wow.
dad. Like, dad. It was a lot of fun though. It was a lot of fun. Like everyone had a good time. So
Can
it
you
was
do
good.
in Texas, can you do I'm sure you can, but you
I'm
never
sure.
know. Can you do the beer tubs where you just have someone manning a beer tub?
Yeah, probably, yeah. Like
And
just
so you
like
can still
a,
have your bottle,
yeah,
all the mixed drinks
yeah,
and stuff like that up at the thing and not
yeah.
have to have a full auxiliary bar,
Right.
just
Yeah, yeah.
having a beer tub for those beer
Yeah.
and water,
Yeah. Well, I
so
think
that
the
you can,
plan, they want to build kind of like a cart, like those videos we keep seeing. They want to build a
yeah.
cart that can move all over, like a fully functional
Hmm.
bar cart that could move to anywhere on the water park
Yeah.
grounds,
If they've
beach
got
grounds.
that, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
But if they
Because
don't,
they have,
I
yeah,
think
exactly.
beer tub
Yeah,
will
in the
solve your
future.
problem too.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
that's like in the works, but they hadn't got to get to it yet because they were rebuilding the front of the restaurant with tiki things and all this new entryway stuff, so that like took precedent over like a bar cart.
Hmm.
So, but they want to get it because they do weddings and stuff over there, and they need to be able to move that bar to wherever the
Hmm.
wedding is, or when they do Jaws in the water, they need to move it closer to the crowds of
Yeah.
people so they can sell more stuff more easily. They also have evil bar or QR codes, and I hate those with a passion right now.
Mm.
Tara's gonna be a mass murderer. Yes, pretty much of every young man who was following my dad's lead. Terrible influence. My father is such a bad influence sometimes. Uh, yeah. So yeah, that was last weekend. And what else has been going on lately? That was the main thing taking up my bandwidth was making seaweed. I made so much seaweed,
Yeah.
buckets and
I did
buckets
my
of
first
seaweed.
modeling gig in 13 years.
Yeah? Was this
Yeah.
the purse one where you're like, it's
Uh-huh.
not
Yeah.
your face, but it's
It was
everything
like, yeah,
else?
my face is cut
Nice.
out of it and everything, but like, actually, it
Yeah.
was really funny. At one point in time, she's like, you hold the purse up like this and like off to the side. So it's out of, so I'm out of frame, but the arms
Yeah.
are in just so it's like close up
Yes, you
on the
see
bag.
arms. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But I was like, so wait, so you can see this flobbly? And she's like, "Oh, that's getting cut out." She's
Oh
like,
no.
we're in tighter than that. And I was like, yeah.
Oh no.
But it was interesting because I was like on the drive down there, I was like, wait a minute, when was the last time? I don't think I've done like a still photo shoot since it's got to be like 13 years. It was before I
Wow.
moved, yeah, when we were still in the Garth apartment. But
Yeah.
I remember specifically one towards the end where I got bangs.
Uh-huh.
Because I remember there's a very specific moment of them
Uh-huh.
going, "Have you ever considered bangs?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, I was like, "Just do it." And they chopped my bangs.
Just
And
do it.
yeah, and I remember I have a picture in the mirror at the Garth apartment. And so that's the only reason I know that that was still happening then. But I can't remember a
Oh.
single memory associated with any apartment after that of like getting clothes together or whatever. Now, I've done model adjacent things that were
Hmm.
commercial work where it was on video, but like still photographs. I think that was the last time. I was like, wow,
Okay.
that's a
That's a
long time
long
ago,
time.
right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
was like, it
no
didn't
joke.
feel that long ago, but
Time is like such a weird, especially coming out of the pandemic and like just things being weird. Like time has got this weird bubble bubble thing going on. We're like 5 years
yeah,
feels like it was a long time ago. Like it feels like a long time ago that you and I were coming out of the pandemic and trying to figure life out. But also that just happened and I'm like, can we all take a break? Like I just went through trauma. Like it's just, like everything's happening all at once and also so spaced out at the same time. Like and I think
yeah,
living in LA for as long as we have now, the timeline is so long. Like when we were doing, I don't know,
yeah,
drinking game for the first time, that was such a long time ago.
yeah.
So with the timeline, it just feels it was such a long time ago that you and I were doing Monty Python together. Like,
Hmm.
but yeah, but I guess because we kept going back and doing the show again,
It
it
doesn't feel
doesn't
as yeah.
feel, and we've been doing Dead Parrot ever since, let's be honest. Like,
Right. That is true of like of the things that we do reoccur them. So
yeah.
they don't they're never like I mean, the films we do actually end up being more of a
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
that was how long ago that we did Imagining
Yeah.
Friends? Because
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
else we do we end up doing for 6 years.
Yeah. Yeah, 6 years. Well, yeah, like I forget who I was talking to about film festival stuff, and they're like, "Well, how long have you been doing this? And how did you get to?" Someone's asking about how we got to like being personalities at film festivals and somehow turned that into a job. I was like, "Yeah, we've been doing this since 2017." I was like, "God, it has been that long. It's almost
Yeah.
10 years. Like we're coming up on it pretty fast that we've been like
Yeah.
in this and at the same time I feel like I don't know anything. Like I just started the film festival circuit. I'm still learning about film festivals. Like there'll be new ones I've never heard of that have been around for 20
Right.
years. I'm like, "Are you kidding me? I've
Well,
never heard of this one?"
I think that's a I mean, in a lot of ways, I think it's a really good thing because it means that we're
Hmm.
constantly like growing. It's
Yeah,
not that we don't know, it's just that every year we challenge ourselves a little bit differently.
that's
So
true.
it's like we don't just go to the same festivals, we're constantly trying to find new ones and go to. That's our
Yeah.
hard part is that we try to grow, but we don't try to leave anything behind. Uh,
Wait, what? Redefine that for
we're
me.
always growing, but we're going to do those same. It's like you just add to the plate instead of taking
Oh
anything
yeah.
off almost always,
Instead of like, instead of this task from here on, I'm gonna do that. No, we go, I'm gonna keep all the tasks, but I'm gonna
Right?
add another. It's
I'm
like
going to
playing the
do this
magnet game.
also.
Have you seen that
Yeah.
magnet game where like you set magnets out? Oh, I want to give this to my parents. I hope they're not listening. There's a magnet game where like you have a stack of magnets and there's a circle and you have to set the magnets down one person takes a turn, sets a magnet down, another person
Yeah.
takes a turn, sets a magnet down. And the game is to set your magnet down without triggering all the other magnets to snap
Hmm.
together. And that's kind of what it is. Like you and I just keep trying to put a magnet down with all the other magnets collecting together and creating chaos. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's you and I. Where else
I
can I
feel
put
like
this
that every
magnet?
time I add a new job onto my list. I'm like, I'm gonna get another job, and I'm like,
Put
okay,
another job.
so
Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, speaking of other jobs, you and I have got so much going on. We'll be back
oh
next
my
week.
gosh.
Again with another live stream. This new guest, we don't actually know her at all. So it's gonna be the first time we've had a guest on that is not a previous relationship with one of us. So that's gonna be a whole new ball game. So if you were here for the credit cookie, love for you to be there for some support. Just hold our hands virtually because we're gonna be socially uncomfortable because that's just what we
Yeah.
do. I wrote the email to her and I almost said like, "Hey, just forewarned, we don't know you very well, so please don't take any of our social awkwardness seriously. It's not who we are. We're just socially awkward people. We
I don't know.
seem
I think we've
together."
been doing the interviews at the film
True.
festival long enough of not knowing anybody that I think we
That's
can
very
handle
true.
it.
Yeah,
I mean, it
that's
doesn't make
true.
it any less nerve-wracking. I just think we
Yeah.
also do well.
It's like the first interview we do at the film festival. The first one's always a little,
Every first one.
and then after that, I'm too tired to care. I'm like, let's go, interview.
I know, yeah. Even
Uh,
at every film festival, the first one we do is normally one of our friends. I think Mitch and Allison and Mike have been
Yeah.
our first victim at like 3 different film festivals. It was
yeah,
like each one of them. Mitch, come be our first interview. Allison and Mike, come be our first interview.
yeah. Come help us get our feedback on her herself. It's been a little
Mhm.
bit. All right, guys. We will see you all next week. Thank you for joining us. Thanks for hanging out in the credit cookie. We appreciate all of you so very much. And yeah, have a great week.
Wait, Tara.
Oh,
wait, Tara.
go.
Before we go, I want to try out this feature before.
Oh,
we
yeah, go
turn
for it.
everything off.
Turn
Let me
it
see
on.
what this switch does.
Okay.
Oh, I can't do it. It said no.
Oh, it said no. Let me try.
Wait.
Okay,
it's doing a
guys.
thing. There it is.
Now
There it
will you
is.
guys write comments?
Yeah, I got jackboots in there. So yeah, there's this
Okay,
thing that
okay.
says show comments on stage. And do you see it, Tara?
I
It's over
think-
on
hold
by
on,
me. It's really small and faint.
Oh, it
It
is.
just has jackboots
Okay.
by.
Yeah.
There,
That's
test.
exciting.
Okay.
Thank you
It's
for
not that
being our guinea pig.
distracting. I
No.
wonder. Wait, guys, everybody type something really, really quick. I need to see how far
Go
up that
fast.
goes, how much over my face it goes.
We want to know where they go away.
Fast,
Oh.
guys.
Fast, guys, fast. Comment. Oh, I think I can. Can I comment? I can
I know, I
comment.
put one in there.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Okay, that's it. That's as high as it goes.
Okay. That's not quite to
Fantastic.
a
Okay,
human
cool.
face. Yeah, because it would be in theory over the host
Yeah.
guest spot. That's not bad. Cool.
Oh yeah.
All right.
I
Thanks for
wouldn't use it
playing
then.
us.
I don't know that we will use that. But yeah,
But
we just
it's
wanted to
there.
see what it did. Okay, cool. Thank
Yeah,
you guys.
it's there. Thank you, guys. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.